If the idol you used to stan showed up out of nowhere and asked you to marry him, would you? So this BL is original to the Manga Me app, which is one of many comic apps here in Japan, and it's called Happiest in the World. Who am I, by the way? Well, I'm Ayumi. I feel like my nose is right. I might be allergies. I'm fine. Typically I'm talking about magical girls and girls media on here, but of course I am also a Woolowa. I'm a queer Japanese woman, so I love to read queer media. Basically, I found out about this yesterday. There was a press release about this new comic, and so I went in and saw that there were actually quite a few chapters already, so I binged everything that I could read for free. There are 7 chapters in total published, but you have to pay to access the last 2 chapters, so I'm just gonna wait it out. So this is a BL featuring 2 very adorable characters. So we have our protagonist is Kotaro. He was like your classic teen shut-in who then, through the power of this just absolutely charming idol named Kei Miyamoto, decided he was going to get his life together. Cut to 10 years later, Kei is now a retired idol. He's just recently quit show business completely. Kotaro is still kind of dealing with the fact that he's graduated, but he respects him, etc. But of course, obviously, like many people, he did have a little bit of a parasocial relationship with this guy. And they even note that, like, while he was doing adult activities, Kei actually does ask Kotaro out to dinner, but Kotaro was just so flustered that he could not accept it. One day after work, Kotaro accidentally sees Kei in the middle of the shop that he's going to for dinner. That's definitely not Yoshinoya. He tries not to say anything, but Kei notices Kotaro and approaches him instead. Talks about how, like, do you love me? And he's like, of course I love you. And he's like, do you love me, like, more than anyone else? And he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, let's get married. What? Kotaro decides that Kei must be just a little bit too drunk. He did catch him drinking a beer, but Kei gives him his number and says, we'll talk sometime without alcohol and we'll do something. So it does take Kotaro a little bit of time to get the courage to actually call Kei, but he does, and they go on a date. And in chapter 3, during their date, Kei gets a call that his house has burned down, which means that now he needs a place to stay, and Kotaro's like, you can stay at my place if you want. It's no trouble. Again, just so flustered, so silly. So at Kei's insistence, they are sharing Kotaro's bed. No, like, accidentally laying on top of each other or anything like that. But it's, like, so full of love still. They do talk out, like, the idea that Kei wants to marry Kotaro, and it's about, like, how it would be, making him the happiest in the world. We do have a little bit of a love triangle situation, I think, because his former idol partner, because Squash, this group, was a duo, Itoshi just also shows up and is like, are you, like, dating? What do you mean that you're gonna be married? Like, what's happening here? Because, I mean, they actually never talk about the fact that same-sex marriage is not legal in Japan, which I think is very interesting. But anyways, that's the first time Kate's like, wait, what's going on here? Do we need to be dating? I forgot what is normal. Itoshi does get to know Kotaro to try to figure out what's going on here. So 5 chapters in, but it is so far really, really sweet, and I love these characters. And even Itoshi is like, he's just like a little silly puppy dog who's very protective of his former idol co-star. Like, it's very, very cute. If you can read Japanese and you're in Japan, then download Manga Me to read this comic. A lot of these in-app comics do get physical publications down the line, so I would love for that to be the case with this series. This series has been favorited almost 7,000 times, which is, like, that's a lot of people, but that's not, like, a lot considering they are pushing it a lot in the app itself. So I am hopeful. I think it's really interesting, and I do want to point out, of course, the art style does feel, very old school in that, like, it reminds me a lot of other 2000s shoujo comics. Definitely, in particular, makes me think of Ayazawa, like, like a Nana type style in some regards, but also the silliness, especially the depiction of Kotaro, reminds me a lot of Princess Jellyfish. And the other thing that I do think we need to point out that's really important is, like, looking at these 2 characters. Kotaro is a bigger guy, and they literally never talk about it. There's no mention about, like, his body or anything like that in that regard, except for the fact that, like, he stood out as a fan of Kei because most of Kei's fans were the same age as Kotaro typically, but they are women or girls. So it's that kind of thing mostly. One of the things that, comes up a lot, especially when we're observing BL and GL, is like, what is the power dynamic? And so there could be a theoretical power dynamic because of an idol and his fan, but also Kotaro's older than Kei. One of the things that Itoshi worries about a lot is the possibility that Kotaro is the one taking advantage of Kei. Because Kei has been in the idol industry for 10 years, he is a little bit like not used to adulting and being a real human in a lot of ways. So it's really, really intriguing. I'm really excited about it. A different video than I usually do. I just wanted to spread the good word about this series because I just found out about it and it's so cute. I'm going to be talking about a new magical girl comic that just dropped in tomorrow's major video. Otherwise, I think I'm doing recommendations later today. I guess I'll see you for that in the next video. Otherwise, like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're interested in this, definitely spread the word, the good word about this adorable BL. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.